And I wanted to begin by asking you to reflect on being a mayor, now being part of the city council, in the leadership of that community, the political leadership, when you have such a kind of overwhelming citizen, if I can say so, in the Chevron Oil Company, with whom much of the city's history is wrapped up. So could you tell us a little bit about what it was like being a progressive leader in that situation of Richmond?
Yes, the relationship between Richmond and Chevron has always been rocky, and in the most recent past, the last couple of decades, we've had our challenges. We've made some great progress, and the source of the problem, in my view, is this big oil company coming out there with all its propaganda and trying to divide the community. But we've stood up to it. We've confronted them. We've confronted them on their taxes and had some wins. We've confronted them on their pollution and have had some wins. We formed a unified local movement called the Richmond Progressive Alliance, and we are building this local progressive movement to stand for the people versus Chevron. So it's one of these things that we know has to happen because Chevron puts the community at risk over and over again with their oil spills, their flaring, their explosions, leaks, spills. I mean, people still remember the 2012 fire where 15,000 Richmond, or not, well, it was actually 15,000 residents around Richmond and in Richmond that went to local hospitals for treatment based on this major explosion in the Chevron Richmond refinery. So people understand that this is a big impediment that we suffer from in Richmond, having this big oil company in our city, but we're standing up to them because we have to, and we're standing for the workers of Chevron as well, which you may know, Rick, are now on strike. I think what we see right now, and I see Richmond as a bit of a microcosm to the larger movement or the larger presence of progressive activism in the country, is we see a lot of polarization in general. We see a lot of chaos, if you will. And so there's some, and this is all based on capitalism's attempts to divide us. In Richmond, we're very focused on social movements such because we have a majority people of color community. We support, of course, the Black Lives Matter movement and racial equity and immigration rights. And so we really want to lift up our Black and Brown community members. We have a strong Asian population as well. But we also need to look at the class analysis. That's why it's always such an honor to be on your show, Rick, because we know you add such an economic analysis of the class system that we all live under. So my view is that we were able to reach out and stand up to the big oil refinery and make some great progress, in terms of this oil giant that is harming our community on a daily basis and harming the planet on a daily basis. But at the same time, we are now in a new era, if you will, after the pandemic and the ongoing economic crisis we face and continue to face, which is going to make things even harder. We need more forces, and Richmond is not an island. We need to continue to lift up our Black and Brown community. We need to bring in all the white progressives in Richmond standing together who understand that class is what binds us together. The working class is 99%, as the Occupy movement said. So we need to understand that there's more of a resurgence, I think, of the union movement right now. Like, for example, the Amazon workers, that was a great win. And also the Chevron workers, that the strike that they're doing right now is an important thing. That's why we stand with them, because when the workers are fighting for safety and better wages, it makes the community safer. So we want to sort of showcase the needed bonding between unions and the social movements. And we want to make it clear. I want to make it clear as someone who comes from a working class background, and experienced growing up, my dad getting laid off as a carpenter on and off, and the Democratic Party not helping at all. We want to showcase that there is the strength of numbers that we can showcase by coming together as working class people of all races, ethnicities, and culture.